Oxiracetam is one of the most impressive racetams there is. I mean, it has the ability to resuscitate brain function when you haven't slept well. I can't tell you how many times like I've been sitting writing a podcast or doing a blog post or doing something else sort of neurologically intensive where I didn't sleep the night before. My brain was just not functioning good. And I took a little bit of oxiracetam, 500 or 700 milligrams. It's kind of my dose. It's my sweet spot right in that range. And I was resuscitated, brought back to life, legit, from the oxiracetam. And not only did I come back to baseline, but I was over baseline. My brain was working well. I felt like I was good. It's powerful, man. It's one of the most powerful nootropics. But the power in oxiracetam is in stacking it with a lot of other cool stuff. Stacking it with Noopept, stacking it with ALCAR, stacking it with some of the uridine analogs like triacetoluridine and uridine monophosphate. We put those stacks together, proven, effective, like limitless brain function inducing stacks in the Smarter, Better, Faster book. Get it at livecortex.com. You'll have it once and done forever. The reviews are pouring in via email on that book, and folks are saying this saved me 5 years of nootropics experimentation to try to figure things out. I tried 2 of your stacks in 2 separate days and got the most done in the last 6 months for 2 of your stacks. It's like, look, man, if you have the quantities of the right ingredients, if someone unlocks it for you and gives it to you, you can take the quantities of those ingredients and get incredible brain performance. Smarter, Better, Faster, a surgical guide to using nootropics for total mental dominance, livecortex.com. Also running a special on Cortex, kind of ongoing, save $5 on our stack, which combines one of the most powerful ingredients in the world. Right? This isn't hyperbole. I hate hyperbole. I hate it. I hate all that like extra hypey BS. We talk about science, we talk about neurology, we talk about the intersection. Uridine monophosphate, CDP choline, artichoke extract, and Bacopa monnieri there's many great, powerful combinations, but that is one of the most powerful combinations you can put together. People talk about artichoke extract and forskolin being like modafinil. Nah. Uridine and CDP choline and artichoke extract and Bacopa is like modafinil, and we put that together in a stack. Secure it at livecortex.com. Use the coupon code 5 to get $5 off for what's being called the only pre-made stack that works. Okay, let's talk about anxiety. I have hair in my mouth. Okay, got it out. Let's talk about anxiety with ALCAR. ALCAR is the acetylated version of L-carnitine, which it has acetic acid combined with L-carnitine, crosses the blood-brain barrier thus and enters the brain. It alters glucose metabolism. It makes your brain use fatty acids for fuel. It donates a part of it to the production of acetylcholine, and it's energizing in all of those regards. I get verbal fluency from it. I get mental energy from it, primarily mental energy, but some verbal fluency, some cholinergic effects because it's partially cholinergic. Stacks well with racetam, stacks well with Noopept, stacks well with uridine, incredibly. But some people talk about it giving them anxiety. And I want to just say this about ALCAR. ALCAR is a very powerful nootropic. ALCAR should be cycled. You know, I used to think ALCAR didn't have to be cycled, but the more I took it and the more I learned about it, and particularly how it modifies energy metabolism in the brain, it basically decreases glucose utilization and increases fatty acid utilization, which seems great on the outside and is awesome temporarily because it really gets you in a great place. But if you do it chronically, that starts to change the glucose utilization and shift it much more toward lactate and fatty acid utilization, which chronically is not a good thing because you do, you know, despite all the ketogenic diet fanatics coming out and saying you don't need glucose, even though you make tears and serotonin and various species of gut bacteria with carbohydrates, among many other physiological processes like the regulation of your body temperature via the thyroid gland. You know, folks are like, well, just if you could use fat for fuel exclusively, you'd be Superman. It's not true. It's temporary. It works well. It works well on people that might have cancer. It works well on people that might have, they can't use glucose in their brains because their brains have atrophied or malfunctioned, like in the case of Alzheimer's. But it is not something you want to chronically do, especially if you can utilize glucose for energy. Glucose is still king. You still utilize glucose mostly, and you still want to be able to utilize glucose. Now, I know some people who take exogenous ketones, and they're able to sort of use glucose and ketones for brain fuel at the same time, and that might be something to explore. You know, I'm not entirely sure if you can use them at the same time. Probably, and that might be something to explore. But You don't want to chronically be using strictly fatty acids for brain fuel. So that's not even the point of the video. I just want to give that caveat. That's one of the things you got to recognize about ALCAR. It should be cycled, right? It shouldn't be something that you take every day unless you're really trying to also improve glucose utilization, which there are ways to do that too. But the one thing that people talk about is getting anxiety when they take ALCAR. And there is a rat study that talks about this glucose, decreased glucose utilization, that also mentions that in the hippocampus of the brain, that ALCAR chronically reduces GABA concentrations. Reduces GABA. So it's not far-fetched to think that in acute situations that ALCAR might be having some effect on GABA as well. We know that high cholinergic profiles, like a high acetylcholine in the brain, might affect GABA in a way that inhibits GABA temporarily or somewhat. And we know in some of these rat studies that taking chronic ALCAR does in fact decrease GABA concentrations in the hippocampus. So it's not far-fetched to think that might happen. There could be these other things going on where because you are that might have been that same piece of hair that was in my mouth, that little bugger. Because you are decreasing glucose utilization and increasing fatty acid utilization, that might put, this is theoretical, but that could put some degree of stress on the brain. I can't see it having a whole lot to do with serotonin because chronic ALCAR increases serotonin. So I would put it on GABA. I would bet it's GABA. It's an inhibition of GABA. You might have some GABA problems previous to that. And that might be your issue. So my suggestion on how to fix that would probably be to take something like L-theanine when you take ALCAR. Take 200 to 500 milligrams or more, titrate accordingly with your ALCAR dose, and see if you still get the benefits of the ALCAR, while taking the theanine, and that you don't get the anxiety. I think for a lot of people, looking at what seems to be the best plausible mechanism for this problem, anxiety with ALCAR, I think it has to do with GABA. And as we all know, a great bet to really take down anxiety, because that's what we're talking about when we're talking about caffeine, theanine, and caffeine being overstimulated, it's turning on anxiety, is to bring in something like the calming amino acid L-theanine. In the Smarter, Better, Faster book, we call it the great regulator, because it is the great balancer of excessively stimulatory nootropics. And if you're running into anxiety with ALCAR, it's common enough. I've heard it over the years. I've never run into it. But try some L-theanine. I can almost guarantee that's going to work for people. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, Ryan here. Thanks for watching. But if you want to take your brain game to the next level, you want to increase your focus, your verbal fluency, your mental energy, your ability to sit down and crank out work for hours at a time, secure a bottle of the Cortex Nootropics stack. Our customers are clear. This is the best pre-made stack on the planet. And hey, speaking of stacks, if you really want to take your nootropic stack game to the next level, secure the Smarter, Better, Faster book. This is a surgical guide to using nootropics for total mental dominance. You talk about stacks, we got stacks in there. Endless amounts of stacks, power stacks, verbal fluency stacks, working memory stacks. We've got modafinil strategies and everything else you can think of to include a whole sector on nootropics questions answered. Smarter, Better, Faster, the most powerful nootropics guide on the planet. livecortex.com. That's livecortex.com. We'll see you over there.